Yes, you can run heating, ventilation, and air conditioning control wiring in the same conduit with the 120/240 volt wiring to the condensing unit, according to the National Electrical Code. NEC Section 300.3. C, titled Conductors of Different Systems, addresses this directly. This section states that conductors of different systems or circuits that do not produce objectionable current or voltage overloads on each other shall be permitted to occupy the same raceway, cable, or enclosure. Let's break down what this means in the context of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. Firstly, it is essential to understand what constitutes different systems or circuits. In this case, the 120/240 volt wiring provides power to the condensing unit, while the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning control wiring typically operates at a lower voltage, often 24 volts, and is used to control the various functions of the system, such as turning it on or off, adjusting the temperature, and controlling the fan. Secondly, the key condition for allowing these different systems to share a conduit is that they must not produce objectionable current or voltage overloads on each other. This means that the presence of one system's wiring must not negatively affect the performance or safety of the other system. Several factors can contribute to objectionable current or voltage overloads, including inductive coupling, capacitive coupling, and ground loops. Inductive coupling occurs when the magnetic field produced by one conductor induces a voltage in a nearby conductor. This effect is more pronounced when the conductors are carrying alternating currents, such as the 120/240 volt power wiring. Capacitive coupling occurs when the electric field between two conductors creates a path for current to flow. This effect is more pronounced when the conductors are close together and have a high voltage difference between them. Ground loops occur when there are multiple paths to ground, which can create circulating currents that interfere with the operation of sensitive electronic equipment. To minimize the risk of objectionable current or voltage overloads, several precautions should be taken when running heating, ventilation, and air conditioning control wiring in the same conduit with power wiring. One precaution is to use shielded control cables. Shielded cables have a conductive layer that surrounds the conductors, which helps to block electromagnetic interference. Another precaution is to keep the control wiring and power wiring as far apart as possible within the conduit. This can be achieved by using dividers or by routing the wires along opposite sides of the conduit. A third precaution is to ensure that the grounding system is properly installed and maintained. This includes using a dedicated grounding conductor for the control wiring and ensuring that all equipment is properly bonded to ground. In addition to these precautions, it is also important to consider the ampacity of the conductors. The ampacity of a conductor is the maximum amount of current that it can carry safely without overheating. The National Electrical Code provides tables that list the ampacity of various types of conductors based on their size, insulation type, and ambient temperature. When running multiple conductors in the same conduit, it is necessary to direct the ampacity of the conductors to account for the increased heat buildup. The directing factors are also provided in the National Electrical Code. For example, according to NEC Table 310.15, B3, A, if there are 4 to 6 current-carrying conductors in a conduit, the ampacity of each conductor must be derated to 80% of its original value. This means that if a conductor has an ampacity of 20 amps, it must be derated to 16 amps when run in a conduit with 4 to 6 other current-carrying conductors. Furthermore, it is essential to select the correct type of conduit for the application. There are various types of conduit available, including rigid metal conduit, intermediate metal conduit, electrical metallic tubing, and flexible metal conduit. Each type of conduit has its own advantages and disadvantages in terms of cost, durability, and ease of installation. In general, rigid metal conduit and intermediate metal conduit provide the best protection against physical damage and electromagnetic interference. Electrical metallic tubing is a lighter and less expensive option, but it is not as durable as rigid metal conduit or intermediate metal conduit. Flexible metal conduit is used in situations where the conduit needs to be bent or flexed. When selecting a conduit, it is important to consider the environment in which it will be installed. For example, If the conduit will be exposed to corrosive chemicals, it is necessary to use a conduit that is made of a corrosion-resistant material, such as PVC or stainless steel. It is also important to consider the size of the conduit. The conduit must be large enough to accommodate all of the conductors that will be run through it, as well as any necessary fittings and connectors. The National Electrical Code provides tables that list the maximum number of conductors that can be run in a given size of conduit. For example, according to NEC Table C1, a 1/2-inch conduit can typically accommodate up to 412 AWG conductors. However, the actual number of conductors that can be run in a conduit will depend on the type of conductors being used and the fill percentage allowed by the National Electrical Code. The fill percentage is the percentage of the conduit's cross-sectional area that is occupied by the conductors. The National Electrical Code typically allows a maximum fill percentage of 40% for conduits containing 3 or more conductors. In addition to the National Electrical Code, local electrical codes may also have specific requirements for running heating, ventilation, and air conditioning control wiring in the same conduit with power wiring. It is important to check with the local electrical inspector to ensure that all applicable codes are being followed. In summary, while it is generally permissible to run heating, ventilation, and air conditioning control wiring in the same conduit as 120/240 volt power wiring, strict adherence to NEC Section 300.3 C and all other applicable codes is crucial. Proper installation techniques, including the use of shielded cables, adequate spacing between wires, proper grounding, and appropriate conduit selection are essential to prevent objectionable current or voltage overloads and ensure the safe and reliable operation of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. Remember that this information is for general guidance only, and it is always best to consult with a qualified electrician for specific advice on your particular situation. They can assess the specific conditions of your installation, ensure compliance with all applicable codes, and recommend the best practices for ensuring the safety and performance of your electrical system. Furthermore, regular inspection and maintenance of the electrical system are essential for preventing potential problems and ensuring the continued safe and reliable operation of the heating, ventilation, and air conditioning system. This includes checking for loose connections, damaged wiring, and corroded components. Any problems that are identified should be addressed promptly by a qualified electrician. Therefore, always prioritize safety and consult with qualified professionals to ensure proper installation and maintenance of your electrical systems.